Hello, hello. Testing one, two, three. Testing one, two, three. Anybody out there? Hello. This is Noel, Slow Rise Pizza, coming at you from Santa Monica, California. I am flying solo today without my trusted friend and confidant and co-host Justin. So I hope you guys are doing well. This is my weekly office hours. Very excited to be here. And hopefully, Josh Hernandez, look at that. Do me a favor, mute yourself, sir. Mute yourself, sir. Get yourself together. Thank you. And do me a favor. There you go. That's Josh. He's going to be my co-host. He just Zoom bombed me. Thank you, Josh, for Zoom bombing me. So Josh was going to kind of help out with kind of office hours due today, but he has no internet connection. So there he is. He is available, but we'll find out soon if he has any internet speed. Last we checked, he was not able to Zoom with us. So welcome back, Josh. Why don't you chill out for a while I welcome everyone? You can send me a message in the chat. Let me know what your upload and download speed is, and we'll get you up and running. All right. So again, my name is Noel. I am Slow Rise Pizza, and I am flying solo today for office hours without my trusted friend Justin. So happy birthday weekend to Justin, Justin Clark Dre. He's a Pizza Frequency. That's where you'll find him on Instagram. And we've been doing Zoom together since late March for what we called Pizza Zoom 2021, and we'll be coming up on our 1-year anniversary this year. So pretty excited about that. Let's see here. So what I'm going to do is I purposely made this a small class today. I didn't do any Instagram posts, and I didn't send any information to any of my mailing list. It's been a super busy week. Some of you may know that that I got a feature in LA Magazine, so kind of turned my world upside down, as will happen when you get international press, since last Wednesday. So I've been struggling to get up to date with all of my weekly, daily tasks, and I'm way behind. So I thought it'd be fun just to do kind of a small office hours today. And Josh, it looks like you're up and running. So let's see. Did you send me anything in the chat? Let's see if Josh can use the chat before we welcome him on. And he's going to actually be running the chat today. So let's see if Josh can actually send me a message in the chat. If you can't do that, how can you run a chat? You know what I'm saying, guys? So we're going to try a cold open on you guys, but Josh Zoom bombed himself. Really, he showed up with no internet connection. I don't know what's going on over there. Now he's got tech support. Apparently, he can't send a chat. I mean, come on, Josh. How can you replace Justin if you can't even handle a chat? I mean, to say nothing of Justin's comedic chops. I mean, for those of us who've been hanging out with Justin for a while, we know what Justin is capable of. So anyway, welcome to Zoom Pizza Live with Noel. These are my office hours, and here's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to go a little crazy. I'm going to try to bring Josh on. Oh, look. 72.3 download. What's your upload, Josh? What's your upload? That's what I want to know. You're uploading video to the World Wide Web. That's what I want to know. What's your upload speed? I'm testing Josh. I'll see if he can send. Oh, 10.3 up. I wouldn't call it fast. I wouldn't call it blazing. But you know what, Josh? Unmute yourself and come on down. You are the next contestant on The Pizza is Right. Josh Hernandez.
Can you hear me?
I can. You look good, that's for sure. What kind of camera do you got that makes you look so beautiful?
It's not the camera, no, it's my face.
So let me get this straight. It's not the camera that makes you look so beautiful. It's your face. You know what's funny, Josh? You know what's funny about you, Josh? I've seen your face.
Yeah, you have.
I know how handsome you are, right?
No, it's the camera. It's the camera.
It's the camera. Also, I do like the lighting. Is this natural lighting, or are you actually professionally lighting yourself?
I've got a little lighting going on.
Well, whatever the case is, Josh, can I hire you to do my lighting?
100%. I'll be there.
Good. And may I fire you or hire someone else to do your web work, your chats, your upload, your download. What the heck? Is there a storm? Is there a storm brewing? Is that your excuse?
There's actually a storm.
There's actually a storm. All right, fine. All right, fine. So everybody, this is Josh Hernandez. You might have seen him in some of my classes. Josh and I have been working together, and we met when you started working at Bestia. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And for people who don't know Bestia, what is Bestia?
Bestia is a beast, is what it is. Bestia. So Bestia is Ori Menashe's rustic Italian concept in downtown LA, and it's where I learned how to make Neapolitan pizza.
Awesome. Awesome. And what were you doing before that?
Before Bestia, I worked at, so I opened up, I was on the opening crew at Short Order in West Hollywood, Nancy Silverton's burger joint.
There you go. Her burger what?
Her burger joint.
Burger joint. That was awesome. And who was the executive chef there?
That was Christian Page.
And he went on to burger fame to open what?
At Cassell's, yeah.
Yes. I would call that LA's premier burger stand. I don't know about you.
I haven't been back to LA in some time.
Oh, so what a burger! What a burger!
We get all this out. I need to make a trip.
There you go. Yeah. So guys, this is Josh Hernandez. Josh has been working very hard running how many restaurants on the southern part of the East Coast?
So between Tampa, Florida, and Charlotte, North Carolina, we had four.
Four restaurants. So Josh he got recruited out of Bestia, right out of the pizza station, right? To go straight. You weren't a sous chef there, were you? You weren't even a CDC.
No.
You were a lowly pizza chef. Yeah. Chef, I use that word, chef. Straight to executive chef at four restaurants, right? More or less.
Well, it started with one.
Yeah.
Which was terrifying enough. 250 seats.
Right.
But and then we expanded. We exported our pizza into food halls between Tampa, Charlotte, Lakeland, Florida as well.
Awesome. So this is gonna be our public coming out party. But people should know we're officially now working together. Is that true?
Yes, it is.
Where did I send you this weekend?
I was in Miami.
Yes, you were in Miami. You were like what were you doing there, Josh?
So I went to go help out a guy named Javier Ramirez, who just opened La Natural in the Little River neighborhood of Miami, and he's been doing pizza at home, backyard stuff, and decided to go pro, and sort of all of the issues that come with going pro, and were cropping up a bit, so we headed down to Miami to help him get things sorted out, and had a blast doing it.
Awesome.
Super nice guy. Really nice.
Super nice, right? I haven't actually met him, but he came to, I think you found me on Instagram, and he came to the intermediate and the advanced class, and then he hired me to do remote consulting. And then when it came time to come to Miami, I'm like, I think I'm going to send Josh. He's not too far away. What was the drive for you?
It was like 4 hours, 3.5 hours. Yeah.
Not bad, right?
Yeah. I'm hoping to get back soon. You know, you don't want to wish harm to somebody's dough, but like I had fun down there. Good. It's a great space, great energy, great crew. He's fantastic. His wife is great. So
beautiful. All right, so here's what I want to do. I just wanted to introduce you, so some of you have seen you've been lurking in some of the classes. Josh is going to be teaching some classes with me. We have some really cool consulting projects coming up, so I just wanted to introduce you some of the peeps. And so what I would love to do is kind of kick things off. You know what I got to do, Josh? Let me see what I can do. I got to make you a co-host. All right, so if I make you a co-host, I think that means you can kind of run the chat, right? So we've got a chat here, we've got a Q&A. So this is the way that we like to run things, guys. Generally speaking, we like to run things so that if you guys want to chat amongst yourselves, introduce yourselves, tell us your Instagram handles, etc. That would be great in the chat. And then in the Q&A, we like you to hit us up with questions. And so what I do for office hours on Mondays is that I ask you to please submit your questions in this format. Number one question at a time. That's super helpful for people who have more than one question. Also, it allows Josh to be able to just read me one question at a time, and then I can address it and then go on to the next. So if you have 3 questions, you can type 3 questions in a row, but do me a favor. Here's the format we like to use. Number one, you don't have to say your name because generally speaking, your name will come up. But let us know what level of class you've taken with us. So you could say, I've done beginner 1 live Zoom pizza class. I've done intermediate 1 or advanced 1 live class. Some of you may have done a beginning and an intermediate class. So just, let us know what you've done. Some people have done some of the intermediate 2 and advanced 2. That's awesome. If you've only done on-demand classes and not live, you could say I've done intermediate 1 on demand. So the reason that we ask you to ask questions in this format is that we would like to know what level of pizza making you are at so we can answer the questions appropriately. So if you're an advanced student or a beginner student, I might answer the questions differently. So it's very helpful to me since I don't know you all and I can't see you all. So that's how we're going to kind of structure the class. And for those of you that have questions, please put them in the Q&A, not in the chat. The chat is for chatting. Then what we like to do is once we get past the point in the class where we get most of the questions answered, then we will promote you to panelists and we can all have more of a conversation. And I purposely did not promote this class at all tonight. Normally I'll do like a post on Instagram and I'll do a little story on Instagram, maybe on Saturday or Sunday, and then sometimes in the morning on Monday, I'll do a post. And I might even do a second post or story just before. But I didn't promote it at all. I'll be honest, I'm super busy this week and I didn't want 50 or 75 or 100 people showing up because it's a lot. And so whoever's here, I'm super glad that you are here. Some of you have contacted me by email. Some of you hit me up on Instagram. Some of you may have read the story in LA Magazine. Some of you might have taken on demand or Zoom classes. However you got here, we're happy that you're here. So here's what we'll do, Josh. Why don't we keep chatting about stuff? And as questions come in the let's see here, in the Q&A, you can hit me up with them. How does that sound?
Good. So that article, by the way, man, fantastic.
Wasn't that crazy?
What a write-up. Jeez. Great.
Thank you. What's funny to me about that article is that it didn't start out like that. Somebody, Andy Wang, he'd been seeing me around, and I don't think he knew who I was. Yeah. And so, what I basically do is I consult on projects, and normally I'm there right up till opening, and I get everybody trained, and I'll often work opening night. And if things aren't going as smoothly as the owners want, I'll stick around for a couple of days. I might even stick around for a couple of weeks. But generally, most of my work is done before we ever open. And so, when guys like Andy show up and journalists show up and, media types show up, I'm on my way out the door. I'm usually there for those soft opening dinners with friends and family and VIPs. And I want to make sure that my staff is trained. But at that point, I'm not usually making any pizza anymore. I try to extricate myself from the pizza making process as much as a week before we get going, because if I'm not going to be there when they open, then I really shouldn't be there for soft opening. So I'm looming, helping out.
What's the longest you've spent on a job?
You mean on site?
On site, yeah.
I was on site for 5 weeks in Kuwait last year. And that's because it was a foreign country and because the owners are very serious restaurateurs, and we were doing 5 different kinds of pizza and bread. And so it took a lot of training. It was a big deal. There was a lot of buzz, and we wanted to get it dialed in. So I think I was only scheduled to be on site for 4 weeks, but I extended my trip an extra week just because there was so much going on. We built a wood-fired oven on site. We were using an electric deck oven as well. We were doing fried pizza, wood-fired pizza, gas-fired pizza, pizza in the electric oven, pizzetta, all kinds of beautiful hearth breads. And then, of course, they moved on to pastry and all kinds of stuff, homemade pasta. So that was a great project. Usually, though, like Flour and Water in San Francisco, I was probably on site for 2.5 weeks total before they opened, like a week and then a week and a half. Maybe Slice and Pint in El Segundo, I was on site for probably 10 days pre-opening and probably maybe 5 days after they opened. That place was so busy when they opened. I mean, I think we did 200 New York pizzas on the first night, which is pretty crazy for an opening night.
Well, Noel, I'll tell you what, we've got 2 questions from.
Oh, that's good. Good.
So we've got a question from Aaron Quint, who took the advanced class a few months ago, and
beautiful.
He's working with Rockbox for pizza pop-ups. Said he's using a Poland 3-deck electric oven for bread and pastry, but would like to start using it for the occasional pizza night.
Awesome.
He's curious to know your thoughts on temperature and weight ratio settings to get a good bottom browning. So he's having some trouble with the top crust because of the height of the decks.
Awesome. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do, Aaron. If it's all right, I'm gonna promote you to panelist. If you don't want to come on, just let me know. But I'm gonna promote you to panelist. If you want to come on, I feel like this is a nice question to start with, and I would love to chat with you about it because I feel like it's loaded, and I can tell that you've got a lot going on. If you have a pull-on 3-deck oven, probably you have more than just one question or two. So. I just promoted you, Aaron. If you want to unmute and turn on your video, it'd be nice to have a conversation. Hello, sir.
Hey.
What's going on? Nice to see you again.
How you doing?
Good.
Yeah.
So tell me, explain your question in a little more depth and tell me how I can answer.
Yeah. So I've been doing pizza for a while, but mainly in the Rockbox, and then before that in other kinds of ovens. But we have this beautiful bread oven. We're mainly a bread and pastry shop. And the pizza I was doing before was more classic, like Neapolitan-ish, but with stone ground flours and stuff like that. But now that we have after I took your class, I started to experiment with higher hydration and doing stuff like that with doughs. And it comes out great. Like we get really good crisp bottoms. Obviously it takes a lot longer than in the Rockbox because it's a much bigger, wider deck oven and don't get as much direct heat. But for whatever reason, I tried using 2 decks, 1 deck much hotter on the top, 1 deck much hotter on the bottom, and moving them between them and trying that. But I'm just struggling to get good top crust color, basically. Bottom crust, I get nice crispy, still with a nice chew and nice, very nice crust just because of the high hydration and everything, but getting good browning and stuff like that, which I've seen, folks get in similar ovens. I just can't seem to get there for whatever reason.
All right, so let me ask you a few questions. Number one, what would you say is the style of pizza you're looking to make?
Probably like somewhere in between New York, like the Neapolitan New York stuff that I've been seeing or I've had a bunch. Like there's like Maker Pizza in Toronto that I've had before. And
now they're cooking at 800 degrees. You know that, right?
Yeah, they're cooking super hot.
So
and we can. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. And like the max temp for the Poland is 360 Celsius, which is 7 something. Like it gets pretty hot. But it's just the decks are pretty tall. They're like 9 inches. So you're not getting the same, no matter how close you get it, and you're not getting the same direct heat.
All right. So you're looking for a Neapolitan. What would you say what would be the ideal bake time for a pizza?
Probably like 6-7 minutes, ideally. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
Pretty long bake. And what kind of flour are you using?
It's a mix. So it's like we use some stone ground high extraction flour, and then King Arthur Baker's Classic, and sometimes some other things too.
Okay. Do all of your flours have malt?
I end up malting the dough a little bit to get the color too. Like
So
instead of sugar, we've been using malt. Yeah,
all right, so the King Arthur flour does or doesn't have malt,
it does. Yeah, the King
and the
Arthur
other
does. Yeah,
flours do.
no, they do not. Yeah,
All right, so what percentage of malt are you using?
I think it's like 0.5 by flour weight.
So 0.5% of flour weight.
Yeah,
Okay, and you're
yeah,
using diastatic or non-diastatic?
yeah, diastatic. Yeah,
Diastatic malt. Okay, and have you tried dialing that up to 1%?
not yet. Yeah, I
Okay,
haven't pushed that further.
and are you using sourdough or yeast?
It's both. It's a combo. So we
Okay.
have our natural levain. It's at 15% on the natural levain and 0.1 on commercial on instant yeast.
Okay, and how long is your fermentation?
2 days.
2 days. And so
Yeah.
you're about 15% levain and about 0.1% instant dry or active dry?
Yeah. Instant. Yep.
Instant dry. All right, so you're actually pretty high on the yeast, because if you add the starter to the yeast, you're at the equivalent of about 0.25, sorry, about 25% starter. So you're not going to get great color with that amount of starter for pizza, because it's a little bit too much. And so, especially with a 2-day fermentation, it's a lot of acidity, and you might be eating up some of the sugars, some of the natural sugars. So a little more malt will help. When your dough comes out of the mixer, what temperature are you at?
We're aiming for like 78 is like our for
So
like
so
all
that
the
so that's another
yeah.
thing. You want to have a lower DDT for pizza, especially
Okay.
with the equivalent of 25% levain, because that's another thing. If it comes out that warm, it's ready to go. That's more like bread temperature or Neapolitan,
Right. Yeah.
right? And for Neapolitan, for levain, you would have somewhere between usually 1% and 2%. Closer to 1% if you did like a 2-day rise, 2% for a 1-day room temperature rise. Refrigerated rise maybe 5%, and you're literally at 25%.
Yeah. Yeah.
So too high on the DDT, maybe too high on the levain. I mean, it depends on what you're looking for, right? How long a bulk do
Right.
you do?
It's we're doing like so we start in the morning, so it's like a 30 something hour bulk and then shaping and then
And that's a
oh,
bulk
not
retard.
yeah, bulk retard. Sorry. We're doing like a 2 hour bulk, room temp bulk, and then
Okay.
putting it and then
Another
yeah.
thing, for 25% levain, a 2-hour bulk might be a little long. So a lot of things you're doing are eating up the natural sugars. So that's one thing. And then what is your actual deck temp when you're cooking?
Last time we did like 320 on the bottom and then 350, I think, or 360 on the top. So it was like we separated to two decks and we'd had like a 320 on the lower deck and then 360 on the top deck.
Yeah, so I would kind of reverse that, because I mean, if you're going for a New York style, you want more temperature on the bottom than on the top. And if you're going for a
Right.
Neapolitan style, you want more on the top than on the bottom. Um, for me, something seems to be weird. I'm not quite. I feel like I think you're doing a lot of things, and it's hard for me to put my finger on what
Right.
what what may or may not be happening. So if you have some of those tall bread decks that are like 10 inches, sometimes you don't
Yeah.
get the brownie you want. Now you're using electric, right?
Yeah, it's electric. Yep.
Besides the temperature setting, the pull on, do you have the opportunity to set the like the intensity level on the top and on the
Yeah.
bottom?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's your
The
intensity on
ratio.
top?
So yeah, that's what we were doing. So we were doing like we had two decks. We were moving between the two decks. So we had the bottom, we had one for bottom deck for bottom browning. Then we had a 320 and like it was 20 top, 80 bottom, and then the other one we reversed and it was hotter on the top and and lower on the bottom.
And so but did you have the same, like, was it 80/20, and did you switch it to 80 on the top?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and you
Yeah.
still weren't getting browning?
We were getting browning. It just wasn't like, I mean, it's just not quite what I wanted. Like it was taking weight. We were drying them out because it was taking so long to get the color
Yeah.
basically.
You're
Yeah.
real hot too for the length of the bake. So if I was doing a
Yeah.
7-minute bake, I would be under 600 degrees.
Right.
And if I were doing a 5-minute bake, then I'd be up around 625 Fahrenheit. So
Okay.
do me a favor. If you want to send me some photos, I'll look at it. Or if you want to post on
Okay.
Instagram and tag me, that would be cool. I put your website in the chat if anybody wants
Thanks.
to check it out.
Yeah.
So it looks like you do beautiful breads.
Yeah.
It's hard to know. There's a lot of moving parts, and you seem like a pretty sophisticated baker. So I think your bake is too long. You're definitely using too much levain and yeast.
Yeah. Okay.
Dial that down. Definitely your DDT is too high for pizza. That's a bread DDT unless you're doing like a same day or a next day bread, right? And so you just want to be careful. I would say you're probably depleting your sugars. You might need a little more malt. And so I wish I could spend more time with you because I would like to get to the bottom
cool.
of this.
No, that's helpful. I'll dial. We're gonna do some this week, so I'll dial back the levain and try to see how that goes as a first step.
Cool. We're going to be doing some advanced 2 classes with some Italian bakers, and so those Italian guys that I work with are all pretty serious bread guys. So if you want to jump back in with us, maybe we can help dial in your pizza as well.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
There's a focaccia genovese class we're going to be doing again. There's a pizza bianca class. So lots of interesting stuff. This is a guy named Stefano, and I met him in Chicago working at Let Us Entertain You. So he's one of the few Italians I've ever met who understands bread, pastry, and he's really not a pizza maker at all, except when he works with me. So you might want to check that out. But send me a photo or two. I'll see what I can tell from looking at it.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
Cool, man. Bye, Aaron. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome. Josh Hernandez, what's going on over there?
We've got a Melina Felix is having some crust trouble.
Okay.
She said that she didn't specify classes. She said that she's a beginner here. I'm not sure if she's taken a beginner class.
Okay.
Says that she can't get the crust she's looking for. She wants it thin in the middle with sounds like she wants a nice puffy cornicione, fluffy on the edges. She said it either comes out all too flat or all too puffy all the way around. She said that she's also been docking her crust and keeping the toppings light. Also,
well, okay.
She's in Colorado.
There's a lot going on. Well, here's the thing. Do me a favor. Let's get back to Melina. I got to find out if she's taken any of my classes yet because it's hard to know how to answer that question. If she hasn't taken any of my classes, I would say she should probably start with the beginner class. And if she has, tell her to let us know, and I will answer those questions appropriately. All right?
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
And after that, we have Gary Scardina is back.
Gary, I know. Yep.
So he made Detroit Sicilian yesterday for the John Arena recipe. King Arthur bread, 62% hydration. He said that his crumb was sounds like he had a dense crumb, very consistent with no air pockets. He wants to know if it's because of the low hydration.
Let's bring Gary on. Can we promote him to panelist as well, and see what's going on there? What's going on, Gary? Gary is a regular at office hours for sure. Thank you for joining us once again, Gary. He's also a good friend on Instagram. He helps and reposts a lot of our stories. So thanks for that. We appreciate that as well, Gary.
Is off. Okay.
What's up, Gary?
I'm waiting for the camera to come on.
All right. Well, how about this? We do want to see your beautiful face, but if it never comes on, why don't you hit me up with your specific question? I got the gist of it, but I want a few more details from you.
So pretty simply, follow the John Arena recipe. Remember we talked about that being 62% hydration, which you guys thought was pretty low, and it sounded pretty low.
For New York pizza, it's okay. It's okay. What else?
And it was 0.5% yeast, but I kind of wanted like more of a focaccia type style or a Sicilian that I've seen some people make that has a bigger air pockets in the crumb. So in other words, so the crumb is lighter. So the whole dough is lighter. So, it came out good and it was tasty and it was very extensible. But I'm still looking for the bigger structure.
You're not going to get a lot of structure. At 62, okay. Are you using some of that that really strong bread flour he uses?
No, I'm just using regular KA.
Which one?
It's 12.7. 12.7 bread.
Yeah. So here's the thing. So there's a couple things you could do. Remind me, which classes have you taken of mine? Gary, which classes have you taken of mine?
Yeah. I've taken intermediate 1.
Good.
VOD. I've taken intermediate 2 live with Adam.
Good. All right, let's start with that. Hold on.
Okay.
So with the one of the things we discuss in the intermediate is the bulk ferment, right? And one of the things we discuss in beginner is the bulk ferment. And so I really think that the bulk ferment is key to what you're doing, because you're not going to get the open hole structure from hydration, right? Also, in terms of mixing styles, there's not that much you can do with a 62% hydration dough. You can do a short mix, you can do a hand mix, and you can do an improved mix. You can't really do an intensive mix. So here's what I would say you should do. Do a nice long bulk. And by nice long bulk, I mean anywhere from 8 hours to 24 hours, not longer than that. All right.
This was 5 days.
Well, yeah. And then I know what John Arena does, because I've been to his pizzeria. Right. Yeah. I don't even think he does. I don't even think he does a bulk fermentation. I think he does an hour at the most, and then he goes straight into ball, and he lets his dough ball sit there for 5 days. And that's what he does. He doesn't have like an artisan hole structure in his dough. He's got a really beautiful dough that has nice flavor and performs extremely well. So if you want to up the structure of your dough, the easiest way to do that is to lengthen your bulk and make it, instead of 1 hour, make it up to 24 hours. And then when you ball it, I would say you want to be pretty gentle. How do you ball your dough? Do you use a specific technique?
Yeah. So back to your bulk for a second. So when you say 24, that's at room temperature?
No, I would say
so
refrigerated.
Then it's refrigerated. How long do I leave the dough sitting out after mixing, coming to desired toe temperature, before I ferment it, put it in the fridge?
Let's go back to beginner 1 class. We gave you 2 scenarios. One was for the short or the hand mix, and that was usually 2 hours of bulk and maybe up to 2 to 4 stretch and folds, right? Sometimes even 6, right?
Yeah, okay.
And then if you were doing an improved mix, like in a mixer where you did speed 1, auto lease, speed 2, then it was a 1 hour bulk with maybe 1 to 2 stretch and folds, and then into the fridge. So I would use either of those combinations. Right. And so are you mixing in a mixer using second speed?
No, yeah, I'm using a KitchenAid Pro 5 quart.
I
didn't go over the second speed.
When you say you didn't go over the second speed, what does that mean?
So in other words, I know that in Adam's class,
I'm having problems hearing Gary. Josh, how about you?
All
right, so how about this? Gary, I'm going to finish this without you, since you seem to be having sound problems. All right, so here's what I would say to Gary. If you're going to do an improved mix, all right, an improved mix is first speed, auto lease, second speed. All right, I know he wanted to talk about Adam's class, but I don't think this is relevant to Adam's class, because Adam did a bar pie class. So we're going to do an improved mix, first speed, auto lease, second speed. 1 hour of bulk, 1 to 2 stretch and folds, overnight bulk retard, right? And then ball the next day. What I was going to say to Gary was that, Gary, even though John Arena goes 5 days, I'm not sure that 5 days is going to get you where you want to be in terms of gluten structure, because the longer you put that dough into secondary fermentation, the more it relaxes, the more it relaxes, the more it relaxes. And the more it relaxes, actually, the less potential you have for awesome gluten structure. So I would say pull a ball at 2 days, pull a ball at 3 days, pull a ball at 4 days, and then see if you can't get some improvement out of that. All right. So thank you.
You think the ferment should be with the dough as panettis already?
Yeah, that's how John does it.
Okay.
If you go more than 24 hours, you're risking having dough that's going to be too strong, and that's what you get from bulk with a strong flour and also a super long bulk retard. Also, low hydration.
Yeah. Okay. So
all right, Gary?
I'll do that. Thank you so much.
Good job.
I'm looking forward to trying it again with the advanced recipe as my next pizza.
Now that's going to be a game changer. Good luck with that.
Oh, thank you very much, and I'll tell you how it comes out.
Thanks, Gary.
Probably next Monday. Thank you
Beautiful.
so much.
See you next Monday. Bye, Gary. All right, that was a good one.
Yeah, that was a lot of parts to that one, for sure.
Gary is a multifaceted guy. He's got a lot on his mind, so we like having him around. He asks the good questions.
Yes, a deep ocean of pizza. I love it. So Melina, she piped up piped up in the chat saying that she signed up for the beginner class but has not yet taken it.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, let's do this. Let's invite Melina on if she wants to come and talk with us, and we'll find out where she's at, and we'll figure out what a good game plan for her is to do some text mixes, hopefully before she comes to the beginner class. I think I saw Melina's registration come in today. I think she signed up for a week from Thursday. So let's see what's going on with her if she wants to come on. You want to try promoting her to panelist, Josh?
I can try that and see.
Let's try that. Oh, all right.
Here.
Hey, this is your first time. You're doing a great job. Thank you.
Promote the panelists. There it is.
There you go. Josh Hernandez pinch hitting for the one and only Justin Clark Dre. Hi, Melina. Wow, what a nice screensaver you have. How are you?
Oh, thank you. I'm good.
Nice to see you.
So I'm sorry if I'm a little slow with figuring out how to communicate.
Please don't apologize. We're happy to have you.
Okay. Yeah, so my question was about my crust. It's like my family thinks I'm crazy. I made 8 pizzas yesterday and I wasn't satisfied with any of them.
Good girl. All right, you're on the team. You're on the team.
The passion is there. So I've been making pizza forever, but I recently discovered your classes and I really want to turn this into something. And I thought I was good at making it until I started to study making it. And now I'm like, man, I'm not really good at it. So,
well, you might actually be good, but you might need a few tips.
Yeah, exactly. So I find that my crust, it's either too bubbly, like it's not, I want it to be flat in the middle and then like nice and puffy on the outside. And sometimes I get close, but then I feel like it's too dense.
All right. Let me ask you a few questions, okay?
Okay.
What kind of flour are you using?
Well, yesterday I did one with Caputo 00, and then I did another that was half bread and half all-purpose. So I did 2 tests.
Good.
Yeah.
What kind of oven are you using?
Unipro with gas.
Unipro with gas. Very good. And how big is that oven, that Unipro? Is that a 12-inch like diameter?
I think it's a 16. Yeah, I ordered the big one.
You ordered the big one, huh? Nice.
All right, good.
Now, if you had to categorize the pizza of your dreams, what kind of pizza are you trying to make?
You can fold it, but it doesn't come apart. It doesn't get soggy. It smells yeasty, but it's not overpowering. And I want it to be airy, but not dry.
Okay.
It's a dream pizza, I think.
I like to find out what people are imagining so I can help them realize their pizza dreams, as cheesy as it might sound. All right. Now, where are you zooming from? What are you in the United States?
Yes, I'm in Colorado, about 20 minutes from Denver.
And do you have any good pizza there?
Not really. That's why I want to be the good pizza here. Not in Littleton. I'm in Littleton, so.
All right. Now, are you making pizza for your friends and your family or yourself, or do you have aspirations to go big time someday?
Yes, I want to go big time.
All right. I want to know. So you're what I call a prosumer, right? It used to be there's professionals on one side and consumers on the other. But something is going on in the pizza world these days where people like you and people like me, 12, 13 years ago are like, I think I'm going to go all the way with this. And you get it in your mind and I think you're going to do it. So I don't have a doubt about that. So you've answered all my questions, which is good. Let me ask you a technical question. All right. Do you know how much water you're using as a percentage of flour?
Okay, so I did 64% hydration on the one that had the 00 flour.
That's good.
And then, on the New York one, I don't really remember. Hold on.
That's okay. 64 is a good little range.
Sorry, kids and dogs are being
no worries.
Yeah.
Now, here's another thing. Do you use a thermometer when you're making pizza?
Yes, I've been temping the water. Yeah.
Well, that's good. Now, what about the air in the flour?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, we just found the answer. Okay. So here's the thing. I ask a lot of questions, and so every question leads me to a new question. So after the first 7 or 8 questions, I'm like, well, she's pretty much doing everything right. Let's check out the temperature, right? And so that's a big thing. So using a thermometer is good, but if you're going to use a thermometer, you have to temp your flour and your water and your air, because you're only getting part of the equation if you only temp your water. right?
Okay.
And we had a gentleman who was in our intermediate class last weekend, and he was doing the same thing as you. He is a professional. He has a New York style pizzeria, and he was only temping his water. And what we discovered, right, was that if you only temp your water and you're always using the same temperature water throughout the year, right? Not that you are, but if you are, it doesn't fill out the rest of the equation because the air is constantly changing temperature, right? And so I think he was in Texas. So in the summertime, he doesn't have air conditioning in his kitchen. So it could be 120 degrees in the afternoon. And in the wintertime, it actually gets cold where he is. It actually could be in the 40s, and there's even frost some mornings. And so you have a difference of temperature of about 80 degrees throughout the year.
Wow.
And that radical swing means you're never going to make consistent pizza unless you temp the flour and the air and the water and come up with a calculation so that winter, spring, summer, or fall, you can make consistent pizza, right? Now, another question. Do you ever make pizza that rises to the level of your expectation?
It does, but I feel like it still could be flatter in the middle.
Okay. Now, do you know that there is such a thing as mixing styles? And I was talking about this with Gary, and there's different ways to mix dough. Like there's a gentle way if you're mixing like Neapolitan style, or if you're making baguettes or New York, there's kind of an intermediate way where you use second speed, and then there's an intensive mix for like higher hydration doughs. Have you ever explored that?
A little bit. But...
Okay, no, that's good. Don't look. You're doing everything right. What you need is the intermediate class. I already know. Know. And so what I would say to you is you're taking the beginner class, right?
Yeah, I signed up last night. Yeah.
Good. So the beginner class will be awesome because we'll get an opportunity to talk about things. And I really like to mix dough with people in person. And so we'll do a mix together one night. And then for the second night of the beginner one class, we'll actually bake together. And so we get to actually watch you baking, right? We get to see you baking. You show us your dough every step of the way. We'll see your dough the first night. We'll see your dough the second night when you show up. And we'll kind of like check in and see how to hack your bake, how to improve your mix, all that stuff. And then what I would suggest is you sound pretty advanced already. I would say you could do the intermediate on-demand class yourself.
Okay.
Right. Right now there's a 10% discount on that, and we have up to 25% seasonal discounts. Usually at Christmas we go up to 50%, but it's good because you can watch it over the course of I think 4 weeks. Okay. And so what I would say to do is watch that class on demand and then come to office hours.
Okay.
If you come to office hours, here's what I want. I want pictures. I want to see what your pizza looks like. I want to see pictures of your crust and your crumb and everything. And this way I can help kind of diagnose. And last thing I'm going to want times and temperatures.
Okay, got it.
If you give me all that, I can help you. I can help you dial in your perfect pizza.
So I do have an Instagram account, Pizza by Mel, and I'll say this: I have more followers than that other guy who has a pizza restaurant. I just can't like and stuff. So
You're
yeah,
funny.
I've been working. Yeah. So
Pizza by Mel. Will you do me a favor?
Yes.
Your Instagram in the chat.
Yeah, put your Instagram in the chat.
Awesome, thank you.
I'm looking at it right now. You do have a lot of followers. Huh. Actually, her pizza looks really good. Are you guys checking this out?
I like to go crazy shopping as far as what's on there.
How do you have so many followers as an amateur pizza maker?
Well, so I work as a creative director for a design company, and like I'm interested in marketing and stuff like that. And I took a marketing class once, and they said build the audience before the product. So that's what I've been doing. And it's funny because I get messages all the time, like, do you cater, do this, do that? And I'm like, I just have an uni. I'm not even ready yet. But so the audience is there. So when I launch, they're there.
All right. Now, normally I wouldn't ask this question, but like I said, I feel like you're pretty advanced and I really like your enthusiasm. What's your timeline? Have you signed a lease yet?
No, I haven't signed a lease yet.
Okay, good. Okay, good.
Last year happened. So that put everything on hold. And I'm kind of leaning towards doing some sort of pop-up or something like that. Yeah.
Good thing to start with. So that sounds good. One of the things I'm going to be doing is I was supposed to do one this weekend, but we had to reschedule. I like to do classes with people who have unis and rock boxes. And so everybody has unis and rock boxes, and we can like do a little like class where everybody's baking on the same oven. I did a wood fired class with a chef friend of mine on Saturday, actually on Sunday, and he had a wood fired oven, but a lot of people in the class were using unis and rock boxes. So once we dial in your fermentation and your mixing, then we'll work on your bake. But your pictures look awesome, and I like your energy, and it sounds like I'm going to guess that within 3 months you're going to have this totally dialed in.
I can't wait. Thank you.
Don't quit your day job yet, though. But I have a feeling you have a bright future in pizza, and I'm not just saying that.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks for joining us. Stick around, all right?
I will.
All right. Bye, Melina.
Bye.
How about Melina, huh?
Yeah, great.
Awesome.
I can't see her Instagram in the chat, though. I don't know if I'm looking at the wrong thing.
Here, I'll put it in the chat. So this was a pizza by Mel, and it looks really nice. So, you know what's funny? I actually think that the advice that she got was actually really good advice. I just put it in the chat. You know, I was on Instagram for a long time, and I wasn't on Instagram for any reason. Like I was just posting stuff to post, and I was consulting just to consult, and I was just making a lot of pizza at home to do that. And it's funny. I got like a really good, strong following, and then when I went pro, like there were so many people who were already with me, and I wasn't trying to sell classes or video on demand or anything. And I don't know. I just feel like building a good following before you launch a product is a really good way to do things. They talk about like authentic, marketing and stuff, and that's truly authentic. So good job.
Pizza does look great.
Pizza looks really good.
Wow.
So it'll be nice to be with her in the beginner class and do a live version. But I think what I like about the video on demand classes is that the 4-hour intermediate one goes by really fast, and then you're kind of left with like 10 pages of notes. But I think I like the way that you can watch the class over and over again and pick up stuff you didn't pick up. I've watched it a few times just because we have to go back and pull stuff out from time to time or answer questions. I get questions like, well, what did you mean on minute 37:12? And I'm like, okay, let me see what I said 37:12. I'm like, oh, actually, I like what I was saying. All right, this is what I meant. So anyway,
watching yourself, it's not so bad, right?
I don't really like looking at myself. I see like that been missing a tooth since March, but other from that.
We get your lighting dialed in. It's gonna be a game.
I can't wait, Josh. We got to talk about some video assignments besides consulting when we're done here. All right. Any more questions in the chat?
More question. Dana Leahy. She took intermediate 1, and she is having problems with her KitchenAid. For the improved mix, she said that her mixer can't handle speed 2.
Oh, I think I know who Melina is. Let's bring her on. Let's talk to Melina. Dana. We already talked to Melina. Sorry.
Let's see. Dana. Here we go. I'm getting the hang of this, right?
You're doing good.
Okay.
While we're waiting. Hello, Dana. There's Dana. How are you? You want to unmute?
You unmute for us?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. How are you?
Awesome. Good. How are you?
Good. Welcome back. Nice to see you. What's going on?
Thank you. Good. Not much. I made my first batch of dough from our class this weekend. It turned out well.
Good.
But I did almost murder my mixer. So
all right.
I was just wondering how I should proceed.
Good. So exactly what mixer do you have? A KitchenAid?
Yeah, I just have like the entry level KitchenAid.
What does it say? How many quarts it is? Is it like a 5-quart?
Yeah, it had enough room for the dough. It just.
No, I know.
Yeah.
So what size batch did you use? Full batch or a half?
Full.
All right. So first thing I would do is go to a half batch.
Okay.
All right. So at a half batch, you should have no problem. Then what kind of flour are you using?
King Arthur.
Which one? They have a bread all-purpose. Yeah. All right, that's about 11.8% protein, so that should be good right there. So I would say start with the half batch. What style of pizza would you like to make?
I like a good pizza that can support some toppings with a fluffy crust.
Oh, fluffy is good.
Yeah.
All right. So a couple of things. What kind of oven are you cooking in?
Just a regular Samsung, but it does get up to 500.
That's good. All right. So here's what I would say. If you like a crispy pizza, and you have an oven that goes up to 500, electric or gas?
Yes.
Top heat or bottom?
Bottom.
Good. All right. So here's one thing you could do. Now that you've taken the intermediate class, you might be able to boost the hydration a little.
Okay.
And that would do two things. One, I think it would withstand a nice long bake in your oven. So you could go long and get a nice crispy pizza with no tip sag if that's what you want. And with that kind of dough, depending on your fermentation schedule, it would allow you to mix with a larger batch and not put so much tension on the motor of your mixer. So 65 is like what I like to start with, 65% hydration for the beginner and the intermediate class. But, if you want to go long on fermentation and you understand like the tenets of the different mixing styles that I was teaching you, here's what I would say. Start with 65% and go up to maybe 67, 68, 69, maybe even 70. All right. Do you remember in the intermediate class when I was talking about that there were like you could go from the let's say the intensive mix, right? It's the really long mix that we do in the advanced class. That could be like 20, 30, 40 mix on minutes on second or third or up to eighth speed. But the one we do in the intermediate class is only an improved mix. And we were like 2 minutes on second speed and 2 minutes on third. Here's what I would say. Add a little water to your mix. Go a little bit longer on second or third speed. It shouldn't tax your motor at all with a little more hydration and a nice half batch. Add a little water. And then here's what I would do. Bring your desired dough temperature down a few degrees. Just like, I don't know if you remember actually, I'm trying to think when it was. I think I came in around 71 on Saturday, and on Sunday, I purposely came in at 68. And the reason I purposely came in at 68 degrees at the end of my mix, so I could do an extra long bulk with some extra stretch and folds, that gives me a little extra strength. And that's what I think would be good for you. And so if you want that like fluffy crust, a little extra strength, a little extra water is where you want to be.
Okay.
All right. And then last thing, did you do the beginner class as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Remember in the beginner class, we have options 1, 2, and 3, scenarios 1, 2, and 3.
Mm-hmm.
Scenario 3 was the one where you mix the dough one day and you bulk fermented until the next day and then you shaped. Try that. That'll give you a puffier crust too.
Okay.
All right.
I'll try it. I'll report back.
Great questions. Thank you for joining us on so many classes. And I love these questions. And see, she's taken the classes. She takes it seriously. She knows the mixing styles, all that DDT and friction factor stuff. Very important. If you pay attention and you use, and you learn the language of baking, right? It allows us to have a communication over the course of days, months, weeks, and we don't even have to even be in the same room. Because if I know the flour you're using and I know the mixer you're using and I know the hydration of your dough and I know all that stuff, then when you dial in times and temps, it's really easy to like have a conversation with people and really be on the same page. So that's what I like about using baker's math and the language of bakers, and it makes this crazy virtual life we're living a lot more manageable. So Dana, great job. Thank you.
I agree. Thanks so much.
Sure, stick around if you want. Josh, what else we got?
We've got Omar. Looks like he's asking for some one-on-one consultation. So maybe we'll refer him to your email or.
Absolutely. I'll type my email in the chat. If he wants to jump on and talk a little bit about whatever he's working on, I'm interested. So I'm only doing virtual consulting right now, you guys. Although, who knows? Maybe we'll send Josh to Omar's Pizzeria. Maybe you'll get to go somewhere exotic. Although Miami sounded pretty good, right?
Miami was fantastic.
Miami was. I've not been in there in years. I was there in the 80s. It was pretty wild.
I imagine it was probably pretty wild in the 80s. Yeah. Most of my time was on the inside of a kitchen, but I did get to eat some really, really good food.
Did he take you out to some nice places?
Yeah. He promised me the best Cuban sandwich of my entire life.
And
I told him I'm Cuban and I live in Tampa, which is where the Cuban sandwich was actually invented. And it was the best Cuban sandwich of mine.
Wow. He delivered, huh?
He delivered.
That's incredible.
It was really good. It's this place called Sandwich.
Wow, I love that sandwich. I don't even know how you spell that. I know how you pronounce it.
There's definitely a G in there. But yeah, it was really good. So trying to bring Omar on. Here we go. Got him. He wants to. But yeah, it was really good. I also had some fantastic Venezuelan style.
Wow.
Hello?
Oh, there he is.
Omar, how are you?
Sorry, guys.
Great.
Internet
Where
issue.
are you zooming from?
San Diego.
Nice. Welcome. How's San Diego these days?
It's beautiful as always.
Yeah, beautiful as always. Good answer. It is a beautiful as always kind of place. Yes. You know what's funny? I'm in LA, and people far away are always like, "Oh, I wish I could come to LA. They have the best weather." And I always say, actually, San Diego has the best weather, but we're second to you guys. So what's going on? What's up in your pizza universe?
Yeah, so I own a grocery store, family owned since 1974.
Yeah.
And we started making pizza about 5 years ago. I didn't know anything about making pizza or dough, and just watched a bunch of YouTube videos, read a bunch of books. I feel like we have an okay pizza. I'd like it to improve my dough. And we also want to tap into that Detroit style square pizza.
Nice.
So
nice.
We heard, I don't know if you know, Russell recommended you.
Russell from San Francisco, right?
San Francisco, yes. He said you're the best in the game.
Man.
So I said, you know what?
How'd you meet him?
I was actually interviewing him for a chef position.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Wait a minute. Wait, let me get this straight. You have a family-owned grocery store, but you were interviewing him for a chef position?
Uh-huh.
Must be quite a grocery store.
Well, we got 3 of them. And
wow.
We got 3 since 1974.
That's awesome.
And we want to improve our food and whatnot. So
that sounds awesome. Can I ask you a few questions?
Go ahead.
Are you doing some R&D right now?
No.
Pizza R&D?
No, not really.
Ah, so have you ever tried to make like a Detroit?
Maybe 6 months before COVID.
Yeah.
We did a little bit. We just played around and then we stopped.
I get it. And just out of just out of curiosity, what kind of oven are you using if you're going to make pizza, or what kind of oven would you like to use?
We're using the Baker's Pride.
Baker's Pride. So that's a gas deck oven.
Yeah.
And do you have an old one or a new one?
It's an older one.
That's the best. That was a good answer. That was a trick question, and I was hoping you would say that because the older ones are great. Mm-hmm. Some of the newer ones don't function as well as the older ones. So you have a nice oven. And what kind of pizza are you, besides Detroit style? What kind of pizza are you looking to make?
We make New York style currently for the last 4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 in all your locations, or just one?
Yeah. Just one, and we're gonna open in about 6 months in the second location.
Beautiful. And you want to use the same Baker's Pride oven?
Yes.
You want the good news or the bad news?
Mm-hmm.
You might have to try a different brand of oven, because if you want a Baker's Pride, or if you want an oven that performs like an old Baker's Pride, the new ones seem not to, and it's really discouraging because those old Baker's Prides are amazing.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, just something to think about. I'm not trying to disparage Baker's Pride, but I just want to let you know that you're super lucky to have one of the old ones. And so how would I see your pizzas? Do you have an Instagram account or anything like that?
Currently, not really. I could email you pictures and whatnot.
Gotcha.
But my whole thing is, do you do like a one-on-one consultation for a business?
Of course.
And if so, how does that work? What's the best way to reach you? Because I know I emailed you a couple times and you suggested to jump on the...
Yeah, no, this is great. This is great. I just want, you know what I like to do? Like, a lot of people email me and have a lot of questions. So whenever possible, it's nice to just like talk, as opposed to just like, you answer me 3 questions, I answer them on email. Yeah. So here's what we should do. I'll send you I already gave you my email, but you have it already. Let's set up a chat. And we can talk either on Zoom, and we'll get to the bottom of things. It would be awesome if you could send me a few pictures of some of the test pizzas you've done. Right.
We'll do. Yeah.
And then, I kind of, one of the important things, like, I'll give you just a really silly example. Detroit style pizza means so many things to so many different people that it almost doesn't mean anything, And so people will be like, like I talk to people from Detroit and they're like, Detroit style pizza doesn't exist. I'm from Detroit. All right. I never heard of Detroit style pizza, they say, and it's not just one of them, till I left Detroit. Right. And so, I was listening to, somebody sent me a podcast that David Chang was on, and I believe either he's from Detroit or his guest is from Detroit or both. But it was funny, they were having a conversation because they were saying that they don't know what Detroit style pizza means, and they think it means Buddies, right? Which is one of the most notable, Detroit style places. But then you've got all these people, especially online, that are absolutely obsessed with these crazy fried cheese crusts, right? These crowns that go up along the edges of the pans. And for some people, it's all about that crown, that frico crust. That's Detroit style pizza, right? And for other people, it's about brick cheese, right? And then for other people, it's about like this like return to their childhood. So anyway, I'm going off like I usually do, but the reason I bring it up is that if you really want to do Detroit style pizza, I want to know exactly what you mean by it. Because again, it can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. What does it mean to you?
Well, it's the crown.
It's the crumb. Good answer. And the crumb to you is what? Soft?
Yes.
Open?
Soft and open.
Beautiful. I love it. All right, that's good. What about that frico crust everybody's chasing? Are you chasing that too?
That's the one. That's the unicorn, right?
That's the unicorn. Yes, that is the unicorn. All right, I like the way you talk. I think we can work together. Thank you so much. I appreciate you dropping by. And I like talking to people. I wouldn't call it in person, but at least I get to hear your voice. So send me an email, and we'll get a Zoom. Do you have a camera? I notice you're not showing your face right now.
You know what? I'm on my wife's laptop. We got all kinds of issues here.
Don't worry about it. So we'll either have a phone call or a Zoom call, whatever makes you happy, and we'll work something out. All right.
All right. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for zooming in. I appreciate you too.
All right.
All right. Cool. That was interesting. Omar. Yeah, he registered. He was the last person to register. I hand wrote him in at the last minute, so that was cool. That elusive frico crust, Josh. What do you think?
I've been chasing it myself.
I know. Everybody has. Everybody has. Any more questions?
I think that wraps it up. I think we've gotten everybody. We have, yeah.
Awesome.
Well, Gary's asking. He wants to know when the wood-fired class will be available on demand.
So the one we just did. You know what? Here's the thing. We have a lot of projects that we're working on right now. So Justin's doing all the editing. Actually, Josh, I was going to hit you up after the class to maybe help me with some editing. I know you do it, so we can talk about that. But yeah, so here's the thing. Our workflow is not just to do a class and then pump it out on demand. What we try to do is, like with the John Butler wood-fired pizza class, I want to actually do another one with John so that we can get to a point where we think it's like great. Although I think that first class was really good. John's a great chef. He's going to be somebody that a lot of people know about over the course of the next few years. So, but generally speaking, we usually do, like with Adam Kuban's class, we usually do 2 or 3, then we pick the best one and we put it on demand. So right now it's taking a few months. In the future, if the future holds what I hope it does, we'll be able to turn classes around in under a week. But right now, that's really not what we're trying to do. Also, I really want people who collaborate with me to be able to make some money off of this, because I give them a really good deal. And so, a lot of people are struggling with income now. And so I want, the Adams of the world, the Adam Kubans of the world, and the people that are nice enough to collaborate with me, the opportunity to build up a following. And so once we do like 1, 2, 3 live classes and they can make some nice money off of it, then we'll offer it on demand, But I like dialing in the live classes and giving people like Adam. I keep bringing up Adam because he's like, he's my favorite collaborator so far, because he's a home. Do you know who Adam Kuban is, Josh?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's a home cook, right? He has a pop-up, but he's not a pro, right? I think probably he's done 40 pizzas on a night, maybe 60 on a busy night. And for him, that's a lot. And it is a lot for a home cook. But the level of skill and knowledge, right, and craft that he brings to the game is pretty much unparalleled by anybody else in the business, Do you know who Scott Wiener is?
No.
Scott, you should look up Scott's Pizza Tours on Instagram. Scott Wiener is another guy who has like an incredible, breadth of knowledge. He used to run this. I mean, he still will continue to, but he ran these pizza tours out of New York City in a yellow school bus for years, and he took people around. And he has I've been on one of his tours. He has an unbelievable knowledge of pizza. And now that he can't do that anymore, he's been doing pizza classes, and he does a really people are always like, "Oh, he's your competition." I'm like, "No, he's not my competition. Nobody's my competition. We all do such different things. Like Scott and Adam bring so much knowledge and history to the game. Like I can't compete with those guys,
Well, a rising tide, is good.
Right.
Anyway,
right.
That's how I saw with like restaurants, opening in the same neighborhood or across the street. That's fantastic. The more
don't you think?
The more people you have viewing like Zoom pizza classes as a viable way to learn, the better. I think.
Yeah. So let's see here. I think that's all the questions. So let's see. We've got a lot of cool classes coming up, you guys. Just so you know, I wish that I could spend more time than I've been spending on Zoom classes, but I think I'm going to be changing my schedule, and I think I'm going to have to start focusing on consulting more, because I hope that that the economy is going to start opening up, and people are going to make smart decisions, and we'll be able to start opening restaurants again. And so I've got a lot of projects that I'm looking forward to working on. So hopefully in the near future, we're probably going to limit our Zoom classes to not like as many as we've been doing. When we first started, we were doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 a week. Then we went down to like 5 a week, 4 a week. Lately, we've been doing like 1, 2, 3 classes a week, but we're going to probably have to limit that to a degree to collaborations. Maybe we'll do 1 beginner class a month and one intermediate, and whatever else we think is necessary. But we're going to mostly be offering on-demand classes, and then hopefully me and you, Josh, we can start doing some consulting together. What do you think?
100%.
That would be fun. So after that first Miami gig, are you ready for more?
I'm ready for more. I came back to Tampa just on a cloud. It's so fun. It's like going and helping somebody, and and then getting to come home.
Isn't that amazing?
Pretty rad. Pretty awesome.
I mean, working at Bestia was my first like big consulting job. I'd had others before, but that was like, you worked there. How long did you work there for?
At Bestia for just a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah, and I was there when it wasn't even busy compared to when you were there. Do you remember how beat up you'd be after a shift? And then the idea of being there the next morning at like noon or whenever you had to show up for a shift?
No, I had to go to the farmer's market. So,
well, the farmer's market wasn't every day. I used to see you on Wednesdays.
No, I used to have to go Wednesday and Saturday to Santa Monica, and then I would Sunday in Hollywood, and then I would have to sometimes hit up the Atwater Village one.
Are you kidding?
I was going to the farmer's market 4 or 5 mornings a week.
And working the oven?
Yeah.
And staying late to do prep?
I had to, so he gave me a key. I was the last person in the restaurant.
You had the key to your own prison cell. That's what you had.
Prison, yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I think he was. I don't know. It was good. It was exhausting.
Great experience. Yeah.
It was exhausting. But it was good.
I remember opening night there. It was the night after Thanksgiving. And of course, we worked on Thursday night till 6 o'clock, which was an early time to get off, right? And we had done soft opening that week. And I remember I drove like 2-3 hours to hang out with my wife and a couple of friends. And then I didn't even, did I sleep over? I think I fell asleep halfway through Thanksgiving dinner. And then I woke up at like 4 o'clock in the morning so I could be back in LA by 7 a.m. And my wife was like, "Is it worth it?" And I'm like, "I think so."
Yeah.
I think so. Like, I only knew Ori for a week at that point, but I'm like, I think this is going to be a great restaurant, and I think I'm going to learn a lot, and all the people I'm working with are amazing, right? I think it's worth killing myself, sleeping through Thanksgiving, and, just like going for it, right?
Well, so, restaurant life, the amount of Thanksgiving dinners that I've eaten in the restaurant. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
But how did you plug in with Ori initially?
So that's a good question. So Ori, oh, you know what? I think I'm still spotlighting myself. Sorry. I think Ori, I knew him through one of his sous chefs, and they were having. I was watching them. They were doing like all these amazing pop-ups, and I knew about that restaurant. And I wasn't on Instagram or anything then, and so every time I would bake like a loaf of bread, I would like send it. I would text my friends and be like, "What do you think about this?" And then I remember the sous chef was like, "That looks really good. Would you mind if my chef called you?" And I'm like, "You mean Ori?" He's like, "Yeah, he's having issues with his sourdough." So Ori started calling me, right? And I was like, for me, Ori was a big deal. I had only read about him. I'd never met him, but and so I would be doing like these catering gigs. That's what I was doing then. I was catering and consulting. And I would be on a catering gig, like working in the wood-fired oven at someone's house, in like the Palisades or Pasadena, and Ori would pop up on my phone. I'm like, fuck. So I'd be taking the call and I'd be talking to Ori and walking him through sourdough and feeding schedules. And he would call me every night after service for like almost a week. And we would talk for, 20 minutes or so. He's not a big phone talker unless things have changed. And he would, he asked all the right questions. We were talking about feeding schedules and water temperatures and percentages. And he was doing bread and pizza. And he was like telling me about, tartine method and stretch and folds. And we really spoke the same language. And I really wanted to get a job there. And I didn't think that, I had a place, because who am I to work with a guy like Ori, right? I'm just like, I had a lot of front of house experience, but not back of house. So I remember on the Sunday night before they opened, I was with my family and I was making dinner, and Ori's name pops up on my phone. I said to my wife, I think I'm going to start working at Bestia this week. And so it was Sunday night. It was the last time he could have called me. So he called me. Same problem he was having the whole time. He couldn't get it to work. Everything I had told him helped sometime, but not other time. And so I went to work for him the next morning, and it was great.
With his water, right? Water.
It's never just one thing. It was a lot of things. So, in the LA Magazine article, he said it was different water than the water he was using at his house, and that was true. And then there were some other issues that he was having as well. I also think that when you're new to sourdough and you haven't been doing it for that long, maybe it's like being a new parent. And I always get in trouble with these analogies, but like my sister, who's now has two kids, one of them just got into college. She had such a hard time with her first kid, and then her second kid, she already knew like everything. So Ori now, or Ori after like 2 years with his sourdough, was a totally different chef. Like, so much confidence, right? He dialed it in. Like the pizza he's making now, Josh, when was the last time you went to Bestia?
I haven't been to Bestia since I left.
It gets better every single time I go. And I don't really go much more than once a year now, right? If I have guests in from out of town, or somebody, it was like, I've never been, can we go? I'll go. And I never order pizza there, but Ori always sends me out a pizza. And the last time I was there, I was with some consulting clients, and I was taking them around to my favorite places. And again, we didn't order a pizza, so Ori sent one out. It was one of the best pizzas in the city. In fact, I'll say it was one of my two favorite. It's that one and Pizzana. And I told him that he needed to go into Pizzana and check it out, because Daniele really works miracles with pizza, and also he's a great chef, I think. And Ori's a great chef and didn't really do much in the way of pizza or bread. He has a family history with bread. I think his dad was doing it back in the day, but he didn't really have the confidence that he has now. And those two guys are just absolutely killing it. And it's their own take on Neapolitan. I wouldn't call it Neapolitan. They might use 00 flour. They might not. They might use a wood-fired oven from Naples. They might not. But for me, these guys are like, it's their own thing. I couldn't even call it Neapolitan. So yeah, awesome. All right, so Josh, let's do this. It is 6:14. I want to thank you for filling in the big shoes of Justin Clark Dre on his birthday.
Happy birthday to him.
if you had fun tonight, you think you would come back and either host with me again or maybe teach a class?
I would love to. Yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
That'd be really fun. We talked about doing like a hack your own home oven class and trying to do Neapolitan.
Yeah.
Good.
I think that would be a lot of fun.
And you know what would be fun to do? Like I was working with John, and he's at Rose Cafe or the Rose on what do they call it? The Rose Restaurant, I think. Anyway, it's the old Rose Cafe, Rose in Venice, and man, it was so nice to have a chef on a pizza oven because not only could he answer questions about, the pizza making process, but he showed us how to like properly caramelize onions. It's a 4-hour process for him, right? He showed us how to work with garlic. So many people have no idea how to work with garlic, and it's so nuanced. He showed us so many things that for me are like next level, but it's really like peasant cooking from France that he's mastered. So anyway, I know you have a lot of experience outside of pizza making, so it would be really fun to do a class together.
I think it'd be fantastic.
Awesome.
We should do like a little baby sausage primer, like, I think that would be pretty rad.
Oh, there were so many things we can do. All right, so let's do this. Josh, thank you so much for being with us. I'm going to say my goodbye to you right now. I got to jump on a call at 6:15, which I'm late for, but I know I got to go for a walk on the beach. Can I give you a call from the beach so we can finish our conversation from before?
Yep.
Great. Great. And I want to thank everybody who joined us today. Thank you for being part of our office hours. Thank you for being part of our pizza community. It means a lot to us to have you guys always around, and we love your questions, whether they be about live classes or video on demand classes or consulting. This 1 hour a week thing is new for us, but I think it's pretty enjoyable. So I wish I could answer all of your questions on email, but these days I just get too many. And so I appreciate you guys taking time out of your week to join me and chat with me. So thank you very much. Josh, I'll be seeing you soon. I'll give you a call from the beach. Thank you to everybody who's still here. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for you who chimed in, and I'll see you next week, if not before. All right?
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.